like especially like your age, like USC, UCLA, big recruits from that area, like that seems right. Like they would go, but like the past 5-10 years, it seems like more guys from Southern California are going other places. Do you notice that? And do you see like how it probably maybe impacts like, the way the Pac-12 right now? It seems like there's just a lot of really good teams, a lot of really good players at all these different schools. Like you being an example of that.
Oh yeah, I mean, guys are going everywhere. Just because they're a good talent doesn't mean they have to stay at home. If they feel more comfortable somewhere else, they can go somewhere else and be comfortable. I think that's what ASU is doing a good job with now, is bringing guys in from out of state, going into California and getting guys. And I think that's where the change is going to come with, is making those changes for us.
When you look at the conference and like this year, especially in the South, do you look at it as like it's pretty wide open, even though you're going to be breaking in a new quarterback and some of that stuff? You guys kind of go into it with the mindset of, you know, we're as good as just about anybody else we're going to be playing against this year.
No, yeah, I mean, we go into that looking at it that way because we don't want to overlook anybody. We overlook Kent State, they come in and kick our butt. So you go and treat everyone like they're a championship team, and just let the chips fall where they may fall.
Go ahead.
There's like a lot of talk about like the 8-game versus 9-game conference schedule thing. Would you rather play like the Pac-12, like 9 games? It's a little bit tougher, but like you're getting higher competition level as opposed to maybe playing 8 games where you're not playing maybe as tough a teams, but you have a better chance like of going to like a college football playoff or something. Like how do you kind of fall on that scale?
I don't know. I'd really. Because I can't judge it because I've never played 8. So playing the 9, I mean, it's awesome because you got guys that's every given Sunday or Saturday that can go out and win. So being able to go out and play against that many guys that are that talented is nice because you can really test the waters with your ability, your team's ability, and things that you guys can do.
How much does Coach Edwards talk about establishing a run?
He preaches that. That's his thing every day. Anytime I get on the golf cart with him and go to practice, it's, hey, do you ever look at this one, how they ran the ball, or this and that? And he's always talking about running the ball. He loves to put the ball on the ground.
Do you like the fact that that's really still a thing in college, whereas maybe in the NFL things are so skewed toward the quarterbacks that, you know, establishing the run, stopping the run is not as big a deal?
Yeah, I mean, now you see fewer and fewer teams are running the ball this way. Like you've got Stanford, who's known for that. I mean, the Big Ten's very similar to that, and I mean, I think that's where we want to get to, is being able to go out and control the game on the ground, not have to put the ball in the air 40 times a game just to hopefully put up enough points, but get on the ground, run the clock out every now and then, hit a big ball in the air, and just kind of take control of it.
I've never met an offensive lineman who said they preferred pass blocking to run blocking. Are you the same? Would you rather just run block if you could?
I would rather put my hand down in the dirt and just go run someone over any day of the week. But I mean, you got to have the change over the pass pro. It just keeps defenses honest. If you're running the ball 6 straight 7 times in a row, they're going to start loading the box. You're going to end up, someone's going to be open somewhere else. So that's when you go and throw the big play action pass and you hit it for 40. But at some point, they're going to have to stack it just to stop it.
At your position where you have to have such good chemistry with the quarterback, how do you kind of see that competition this fall?
Good. I mean, they're both in there every day working, whether it's with me, whether it's with the other wide receivers. But just get an understanding of how things work, how we're thinking. They've got I sat down countless amounts of times with Dylan, Jaden, Ethan, Joey, just watching film, seeing how I understand it, and look at a defense so that when they come up, they can see what I'm seeing. And if they can't figure it out, they can come up and ask me, hey, why did you call it this way? Or what do you think we should do if we get this look?
And how much of a luxury will that be for that person and you guys to have, back to block for again after nobody had really started?
Oh, it's great. I mean, having him being able to still be there takes a lot of pressure off of whoever's the quarterback. Just because now he can be more of a game manager. He doesn't have to be so worried about making the big play, or if he makes the wrong decision with the ball. But he's there to get the job done. I think whoever ends up coming out and being the number 1 guy week 1 is going to be the best for us and getting the job done.
With Manny and Nikhil no longer being here, do you expect defenses to play you guys differently? Maybe put an 8th or even 9th man in the box to try to stop Eno and force you to pass?
I easily can see it, but at the same time, we got enough weapons outside with Kyle, Frank, B.A., Jordan, all those guys out there. There's enough weapons out on the edge to where it's like, hey, you still have to honor the guys we have out there. And if you're not, then we're just going to beat you over the top with the speed that they have. I mean, those guys can run past the majority of the conference. So if they're gonna stack the box, we're just gonna put the ball over their head until they decide, hey, okay, we got to worry about the pass game. We can't just only worry about the run game. And when they make that decision, then we'll go back to running the ball and wait for them to switch again. But we just want to have an answer to everything that can be thrown at us in the game.
Manny kind of been a constant in the program for several years. What was it like this past spring, having a new voice or new set of quarterbacks?
It was a little odd just because it wasn't the same voice anymore. I mean, I heard his voice for the last 3 years. But it's good because you've always got to have change at some point somewhere. So having a little bit of change in scenery with the voices that were being heard in the rooms and whatnot, you could change things up if you wanted to in a way, or continue building on what Manny was saying, and just give different ways of looking at things.
Whether it was fair or not, there was a decent amount of skepticism about Coach Edwards, I think, heading into last year. He was an older coach, hadn't coached in a while, come from the NFL, all that stuff. Do you feel like that's a played out narrative at this point, that he's proved himself as a that he can be a successful college coach?
Oh yeah, I mean, he's gotten the right guys in the building. You go and look at our staff, I mean, there's 5-6 guys that have either played or coached in the league, and that's what we're trying to build is an NFL style program. You get guys that come from that background, they're going to run things that way. You just kind of get used to having that NFL model, so now guys are wanting to come into it because you can be, okay, hey, this is what the example is going to be for you for the next 4 years. You make it out of here, you already have an understanding of what's going to be going on for however long your opportunity to play in the league will be.
When you see the NFL model, what does that mean?
Just the way that they're going to handle everything. It's not going to be micromanage everything. Like you're going to have your rules and your boundaries, but they're to the point if you decide to step over them, you've already crossed the line in most other coaches' books. That you're going to have the disciplinary actions, but the players are going to run the program how they want to run it. If you guys want to run a program where it's just kind of, hey, let's just go have fun, do this and that, fine. But we're not going to go win games. If you want to win games, you're going to have the team preaching what the coaches are saying, getting guys to buy in through the team, not just through coaches.
Got some tough defenses on the schedule this year, specifically the defensive line. Are there any certain units or certain players that you're looking forward to on the schedule this year, lacing up and lining up against?
Looking forward to going against Michigan State again, just because it was so different last year, having them kind of as a wrinkle in the mix of defensive lines and linebackers. I mean, their linebackers run all over the place, and I think there's linebacker number 35 is one of the fastest linebackers I've ever seen on the field. He just plays sideline to sideline all game and just doesn't stop. So having to be able to account for a guy like that, plus the D-line, it's all very well coached, very technical in everything they do, it just changes the way of thinking and how you're going to approach a game.
This offseason, how's the camaraderie with the other offensive linemen progressed with so many returning guys? Like, has it progressed like how you would hope?
Oh yeah, I mean, we got guys that we're calling each other out just on little things. I mean, I was missing this morning's workout because of being here, so I did my workout on Monday. One of the other guys stuck around just so he could watch to see what I cleaned on that day, just so he could say, hey, I'm going to go and try and beat you on Wednesday. And then I'm sitting in the middle of an interview this morning, and he texts me, hey, just so you know, I hit more than what you did. Just thought you should know about it. Just kind of being funny, but at the same time, it's breeding competition. I mean, we're all trying to fight to do better than we can. We're just breeding competition, whether it's in the middle of the field or if it's in there.
So I was asking Nick Harrison in Washington. You had 3 offensive linemen here at Media Day. Kind of an unusual thing. He said that he feels like linemen don't necessarily want a ton of the individual spotlight, but you get all 5 together. It's kind of a rally for a group. Do you see that kind of the same way it is in the state?
Oh yeah, I mean, all linemen just gravitate toward each other. Me and Nick were talking about that last night while we were walking around. That no matter where they come from or where they are, who they are, they all find a way to all end up together at some point, just because everyone thinks alike, their mindset's the same. So having guys like that around you just makes you want to have fun. But at the same time, you know you got to have the work job to go with it. And I think the guys that we have up at ASU it's awesome. I mean, we got 6 guys that are have been around each other. I mean, most of them have all been around each other for the last 5 years together because they all came in together, and then I'm the odd one out that came in the year after. But we've all been around each other. We've all hung out all the time. I mean, we all go out and eat. I live with 3 of them, or 2 of them. So having that, it's like you understand how people think and kind of take it away, so you know how they're going to react if something happens.
How much responsibility do you feel being part of a group of 6 seniors, which is incredibly rare, but also knowing that there's like a 2-year gap between the next offensive lineman coming up, to spend this last year not only doing your job on the field, but also making sure the young guys are ready, because they're all going to have to take over next year.
Oh yeah, I mean it in a way it's kind of a bummer, but at the same time it's in a way you kind of see it as like a craftsman in a way. You got some little piece of clay that you can mold into who you want it to be, and having that many guys that are that young, you can kind of mold into the group, and they've seen how things work for the last couple of years. With them last year, seeing how we ran things, again this year how they were going to run things again. It sets like a standard for how the O-line game should be played, the way they need to study, prepare, be ready to go at game time. So that when their turn comes, they already understand how everything works. They've seen how it's been done in the past, and they can continue to reach to that standard or continue to build on that standard and move the level of play up from year to year.
What was that for you? Who was the craftsman?
I take Jared as that. I mean, I've known Jared for 6-7 years. I worked out with him when I was in high school. He was in 8th grade or 7th grade, and I was working out with him just because he wanted to have better competition. So he came and found where it was and wanted to work out, wanted to work at everything. And now we're getting together every day. Hey, what are we doing after lift or after run? What are we working on? What technique are we doing? Hey, do you want to go watch film? So he can start understanding and start building that knowledge of the game that I've taken over the years, having been around with Coach Sale, Coach Thompson, guys who've been around for a long time, and now having Coach Mawai, and being able to take those pieces that I pulled from them and share those with him. So now he's already where I am as a senior, but as a redshirt sophomore.
What about Eno makes him fun to block for?
You give him 6 inches, he's going to hit it for a big one. You give him 2 feet, and he's going to hit it for 100. So just giving them that chance to, hey, maybe we'll give you a little bit, and you can go take it to the rest of the house. But it's fun when you make a big block and you know you made it, and you just watch them take off. It's just one of those highlights of the games you just don't forget.
You could have gone last year probably if you wanted to. What made you want to come back for the senior season? What goals did you have? Where do you think you can get better?
I mean, goal-wise, I was come back and be an All-American, be a finalist in the Remington Trophy Award, or even win it. But continue to build my tools of the game, my knowledge of the game, so that by the time I do get to the league, I've got a better understanding of how the game works, how this position works, how things need to be done, and really just kind of, in a way, be shaped a little bit more so that come this time next year I have all the shiny tools or whatever I need to have, and there's no more questions for what teams are looking for or what they need out of me.
Did you get a chance to talk to Liam Ryan at all?
Mm-hmm. We were all hanging out last night.
Rocking some serious hair there.
Oh yeah, it's funny. He ran off to go grab the elevator and he started running. His hair just was all majestic and just all flowing through the air. We're like, dude, this is kind of weird to say, but your hair looks very majestic right now. He's like, I know. He's like, why do you think I did it?
When you talk about building things, what do you think it will take to continue to build ASU's national brand and turn it into a program that's competing at the national level to appear in the playoff or to win a title?
I think it's the matter of recruiting. I mean, we're doing a great job with coaches going out and getting guys just to make an impact early. I mean, you breed competition. You want guys to come in and compete for starting spots early. So having guys like last year who came in with the 8 guys on defense that started for us as freshmen or whatever it was, that are coming in now and they're going to be older and whatnot, and it's like, okay, hey, as a freshman, I have to go take a job from a guy who's been playing for the last 4 years or the last 3 years, and it's just going to breed competition because now it's like, hey, I'm competing with a guy who's older. Granted, I'm a freshman. If I don't win it, it's because that guy was better, but I'm getting better every day because I'm watching someone who's doing it. And continuing to do that over and over again with class after class, you're you're going to get guys who are too deep that can be starters somewhere else, and you start getting guys that can roll in that are 2-3 deep that are starters in most other programs. You're never going to have a drop off of talent when a backup comes in, kind of thing. And that's where I think we have to start to continue to build our program.
Speaking of those young guys, has there been anyone that's like stood out to you in the off season?
So I mean, Ben Scott and Ladarius Henderson, I mean, both of them have been awesome. I don't get to work with a lot of the skill guys or the defensive guys. We're not usually together. But having those two in our group, they switched over from working out with the freshmen like 2 weeks ago, I think. And granted, they're doing different workouts, but when we're out doing field work, they're the most two fluid guys as freshmen I've seen in a long time, which is nice to have. That when this group departs, there's guys behind us that may have an easy transition into competing at this level.
You got to really feel like this is your team. You're a senior, your third year starting. What about kind of taking that leadership role and trying to set the tone?
It's just being more, I like to think of it being more as leading by example than anything. So setting a standard that guys have to follow for later to come. And it's, in my eyes, that's the most important thing I can do, because now it's setting a standard where you aren't reaching what that standard is, you're just being mediocre at best. And continuing to build that leadership is just going to go back and continue to grow as guys get older, and that standard is going to continue to rise as I've gone. It's 2, 3, 4 years down the line, and the guys that I was here with or the guys that are after me are still learning the same thing, are still using that same standard as what they need to do for continuing to build that program.
What do you think of your team picked third to be in the Pac-12 South? You guys like being underestimated?
Yeah, I like it. Stop thinking of me as the guy that will go out and has to rule the world kind of thing. Like, I like being the underdog, the guy that you kind of maybe overlook on the schedule a little bit. It just makes it fun to go out and play, and then you come away with the win. It just tastes that much better.
In the Pac-12, a lot is paying attention to the defensive lines. In your experience last year in the Pac-12, what separates a defensive line as being, in your eyes, an elite defensive line compared to some of the other schools? Is there one quality of a defensive lineman in the Pac-12 that you look at and say, that's why they're the best?
I think it's more of a combination of everything. A good defensive line makes for a good linebacking group. A good linebacking group makes for a good safety or defensive back group. So if you're having a good D-line or whatnot, you're going to have a good defense, because now the D-linemen are holding up offensive linemen that can't get to the second level, make a block. But I think it's one whole thing. If you're having to make up for your defensive line at linebacker, then you're going to have some holes somewhere. Someone's going to get caught up somewhere, and you're going to end up running into problems somewhere on the defense. And that's just going to cause chaos throughout the whole thing.
Is it speed? Is it strength? Is it athleticism?
It's all it's everything. I mean, you can't just have one thing. Like one player be just a strong guy. That's just the strong guy. He's gonna get caught every now and then. Yeah. You gotta have some guys who build that whole thing just to make a great defensive line.
Last year, who was the best defensive line you played against in the Pac-12?
I would say the best defensive line in the Pac-12 last year, in my eyes, was Washington. Just because of the amount of guys they could roll in that were just as good at the second and third group.
Quantity, depth.
Yeah. And just being able to go in and play all day. I mean, Greg Gaines was a monster last year. I mean, he just kind of goes out and plays. He doesn't really care about what happens or what situation is, and he just can go out and do his job. And those are the guys that they got to know.
Is there any defensive line that you look forward to this year that Utah's getting a lot of play as maybe one of the best defensive lines in the country?
I'm looking more forward to playing Michigan State as a defensive line, just because it's something different to play against, the style of play that they like to play.
Big Ten.
What's a defensive front that gives you some problems reading, or what's the most difficult defensive front to kind of diagnose when you're looking out at the defense?
Teams that do a lot of shifting or moving around, so like very similar to what our defense does, or Washington State, just because guys are moving around so much. If you're trying to go fast, you can't really diagnose or make the correct calls. You kind of just have to live. It's a live or die call kind of thing. And those, over the years, in my opinion, are the hardest things to block, because the guy may start in the A gap, but he may end up in the C gap by the time the ball snapped. And that just changes everything up, because if you end up getting locked onto that guy not playing to their eyes, you end up out of position. There ends up being a giant gap. Either another D lineman or a linebacker tends to fill that hole, and you get tackled for a loss.
Cohl, you were talking this morning about how you've kind of been at ASU for a while now and seen some things change with kind of the discipline and how Herm runs the program now. What's been the overall feeling you have going into this year with how the team feels, going into some more stability under Herm?
I think guys are more confident in what they're doing. Like I said earlier, it's a different mindset guys are going into this year with. Having that, it makes it a lot easier for guys to understand what's going on, being able to go out and attack every day with a winning mentality, where before in the past it's like, okay, what do I have to do today? Am I going to die today? Am I not going to die today? And be able to understand, hey, they're going to take care of us. We can go out there and leave everything on the line and know that we're going to get taken care of somewhere down the line. And that just makes guys want to continue to grow and keep getting better.
How can that stability actually help on-field production like you're talking about now?
It's great. I mean, when it's the fourth quarter and you got a last-minute drive and your legs are tired and you don't want to push anymore, your technique tends to go out the window at some point, and that's where problems start to happen, injuries happen, holes start to open up. But when you have that conditioning, or where you've pushed yourself enough in conditioning or in the weight room, you don't have to rely on being tired anymore. You can rely on your technique and leaning on your brother, like, hey, I know I can get through this. It's not going to kill me. And the more people you get on board with it, the better off you're going to be.
You said you've got an itch to get back into hitting people. Do you think that can help some of the veteran guys that you haven't got to hit people in a while, or were you just ready to get back out there?
I think some guys, it's hit and miss. Some guys like that feeling, some guys don't. It's just a matter of personality for most people. But I think getting guys together that all have the same mindset of like, hey, we want to go out and just be physical is what it takes to win at this conference.
And how do you feel coming back after just deciding to come back instead of foregoing the senior season and trying to go into the NFL draft? How do you feel physically and personally going into your second year at Central?
I feel a lot more comfortable. You have an understanding of how things are going to go, how guys play and whatnot, but now it's starting to perfect your craft almost. Being able to look at how you did things technically and being able to adjust how you want to make a certain block or how you want to take a step, or if you need to take a smaller step or a bigger step, and just knowing how you're going to play and look how you've moved while playing, and being able to look at that and now build on what you've already done, and then continuing to build that up. The processing of defenses and looking at structures, being able to understand what's going on.
How did having what Eno did and Coach Christensen having a successful year and Herm coming in all help culminate in you deciding to come back for your senior season?
It was huge. Being able to learn from Coach C and Herm, Coach Malwyman, all those guys are walking thesauruses with football, practically. And then the fact they're bringing in more guys that have the NFL background, it's just another guy you can go to and find for knowledge and get a more understanding of how the game works.
What's it like with you and Eno? Being here together, just because I know he said that he's never really been the leader, and now he's trying to. And you said you've always been the leader and always the guy that people look up to. So what's the comparison like a little bit with you two now leading the offense?
It's just kind of back and forth of like, hey, he's going to be the guy you're going to look for to do it the right way. That's why I want to be, but they've asked me to step outside of that comfort zone just to continue building that leadership role and the understanding of how you have to be that leader. And I think that's just where having guys like Coach Malwy, Herm, and some of the older guys, more seasoned guys that have been on our staff now, understand how that works, being able to see it from them, like, hey, this is what you got to do to kind of get to that point where you want to be, where now you have every tool possible and you leave all the guessing game out of it.
How much more important is it now with particularly the offensive line? You guys have a gap in the sophomores and juniors, so you also have a very veteran group where you can help out some of the redshirt freshmen understand what's going to be expected of them over the next couple of years, even after you're gone.
That they're going to continue building on what I taught them. And the more they can go to understand what I've taught them, now they'll be able to build that for when their next group of freshmen come in, and along the lines of it still being the same thing in 5-6 years.
one real quick one. I just overheard you mention something when you were talking to the Pac-12 Network guys. This final finish.
The fatal finishes.
Fatal finishes. Can you just expand on that? Like, what's that about?
We track all of our, like, what everyone else would call a pancake kind of thing. So we call it a fatal finish of going out, just leaning on a guy or whistle's blown and you're still blocking them. That considers a fatal finish. And just teaching guys to go out and finish, play physical, because you do that long enough throughout a game, and guys are just going to start to quit or give in. And that's where, if you're running the ball 30 times a game, something's going to break out at some point, and you're going to hit a big one.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cohl. Thanks, Cohl. Appreciate it.